Good afternoon, everyone. Gabe Velazquez here with you, Transparent Trading Solutions for a Friday. This is 14 April. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good trading week. So let's go ahead and get started. Gonna update you on current positions. I think I mentioned last Tuesday I was with you. We were long gold. That did hit our target. We just kind of review. So we got long at 2001.10. Our target was 2057. So we hit that if you guys are looking at your charts, right up against that distribution. We did not short it there. And it did fall pretty nicely away from that. We also had, we were talking about silver. Yeah. Hi, Kelly. Did you take that? I hope you took that one. Great. Awesome. Right. So we're out of that. We actually shorted a euro. Also, we shorted euro at, where was that? We actually were short euro. Yeah, we're short euro 1.1080. So that's also working nicely for us at the moment. I did that in lieu of the dollar coming into all of this. I did a presentation. What was that, Wednesday, on correlations. If you look at the dollar index, I was trying to time the euro short against the 183 level. Yep. Hi JT. If you look at your chart of the euro, that was basically the lows from that came back on the lows on from back in February, and I thought it was going to go a little bit deeper in there. We came off that, and so I think we get up to 102 on the dollar index, the DXY. So hopefully that works out for us as well. So we also got long nat gas using options. Okay. Nat gas broke. If you were watching nat gas this morning early, it broke 2 and then reversed hard. I don't know if you saw that, which could be significant if we get follow through, right? So anytime we get a new low, it could be signaling capitulation. We've been hovering around this 2. It's obviously a very important level. Could we go down to 150, 165? Of course, that's actually the all-time low, but seems to be hanging around 2. Fair value, there's some fundamentals, some algos. So the fact that we had a really nice reversal, and it could have been, that kind of capitulatory low. So we're slightly ahead on that position, not too bad. I mean, but we're looking. By the way, we're only looking for 3 MBTU on that thing. In the past, I know we talked about going long when it was sitting below. When it actually hit 2 before, and then it rallied up to 3, and then failed miserably on a gap down. About, it's been almost 2 months. But anyways, so we are long that. We're long TLT calls, which are not working so far. But again, we're taking a small risk on that. And looking at a bunch of opportunities next week with earnings and so forth. So that really kind of sums it up. If you guys are looking to maybe spend 5 days or whatever with us, on our morning sessions, go ahead and hit the link below, sign for the newsletter. I did actually mention nat gas in the newsletter. Let's get into the averages. Very interesting. Still largely range trading. In fact, if we've been talking about this quite a bit. We did push right up. If you're looking at your chart, again, this isn't rocket science. 4187, 4188. You can see all those little wicks, kind of a very, very visible resistance area, if you will. kept we actually hit that with a few pivots up there. We actually did that this morning, came right off again, and then kind of just meandered about all day. But it seems to me like there's probably going to be an upside break, although the VIX did hit 18. So I think on the next rally, we got another gap up about 42.20. That's kind of where I'm targeting right now for another upside move, and then, if the VIX comes down into the six, that would probably put the VIX down around 17, 16, which I think would be a great shorting opportunity. But that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Okay, so that's on the S&P. Interestingly, again, the NASDAQ also very range bound, keeps hitting that 13,200 multiple times, keeps coming off. Very, very. So I've been talking to you guys in here and also talking to my members how these algorithms clearly, with the AI really being talked about quite a bit. This is actually really interesting because you look at these charts and you look at, for instance, on the NASDAQ futures. I mean, it's so clearly defined, these ranges, and that just again suggests these algorithms are just going, like, they come down to this 13K 12,965 area. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. Rally right back up to the top end of the range, right back down. So that's not typically what in terms of stop placement or whatever. It is a little bit tricky. However, one of the things that you may want to think about with this kind of environment is maybe being more flexible and range trading. In fact, I think gold is probably going to be in that situation. We're probably going to engage gold again, because I think we're probably going to start a range in gold between 2K and about that high. And so it's okay to be hitting these levels multiple times and not worry about freshness and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be interesting. But you guys can clearly see now, NASDAQ's still a laggard, and we'll see if that actually breaks out. We don't have any mega cap earnings until I think 2 weeks from now, with Apple coming out and some of these others. So it's going to be interesting what's going to get us out of these ranges. All across the board, really. The Dow did actually, the Dow is kind of weird because it's got only 30 stocks or whatever, but we are approaching this 34,500 level on the Dow, which is, again, another big resistance. See how that goes. And then Russell, clearly the laggard, that's bumping up against 1826. So we have all these potential breakouts setting up for next week. And I do believe next week's going to be fresh as for food, right, Fernando? Yeah, exactly. So one of the things about range trading is we know that these ranges will only last so long, right? So my point to you folks here is we're ready for a breakout. We've been in these ranges now going on a month, right? Think about it. So again, you go back characteristically, you go back to the Russell in December. It spent all month range trading, and then it busted, had a huge rally when we came into the new year, right? If you look at your chart. So this is a pattern, if you will, right? Where we get these ranges, they last a couple, 2-3 weeks, whatever, and then break out. So I do believe we're in, right on the verge, if you will, of a huge breakout in all these averages. Now the next piece is everybody, if you look at the S&P, everybody will say, well, it's bullish. Well, that's not necessarily always true, right? I mean, we've had situations where we had a, leading into that base, there was, obviously some buying. You have a big kind of rally and then a base, and everybody assumes that it's going to keep going higher. Well, that's not always the case, right? There are many times where it hangs in there and then it actually breaks down. So I'm not of that, again, that's kind of traditional, trend analysis and all that kind of, how I feel about that. But but right now we'll see. In fact, if we come up a little bit higher, I think it's actually going to be selling opportunity, even if we do break out to the upside. So, anyways, similarly, the bond market, interesting, right? Look at the 30-year, 133, 129. We can just do this exercise all day long, right? 10-year, 116. Was it 116.28? Let's call it 117 to 114, right? So all across the bond market, very similar. The 2-year ready to break down about below 103, right? So 103 is a really key resistance or support area, I should say, on the 2-year. So that's going to be 103. Let's see if that breaks down. That's going to be again all these breakout type of. That's the theme for me today for you next week. And again, bonds, equities, those are ready to bust out in some direction. Similarly, oil. Check this out, right? Look at oil, and in fact, oil after that big gap from the OPEC thing 2 weeks ago is going on, hasn't really done much at all. We kind of had a range for last week between 81.60 down to 78.75, and now we're sitting here right up against the 83. Also, just kind of no kind of follow through on the upside. So that's probably ready for a break as well. It wouldn't shock me, by the way, in the least, if it broke down and then come down and fill that gap at 75. So we'll see what goes there. And there really hasn't been a whole ton other than these kind of narrow ranges in oil. So that's really been fascinating. Now, nat gas I already talked about. If you really think about nat gas, we got to break above 227 on the charts, right? Pull up your chart of nat gas. You can obviously see that as well. 227. All right, Kelly. 227 is really the breakout point on this. You can make the case, just let's call it $2 to 227 in nat gas. If we break above 227, we may get some follow through to the upside. Okay, so that's pretty much that. Let's get into the dollar. That's really been the standout this week. We've basically made our week just trading gold and some of the currencies. Gold obviously still pegged against the dollar. So you can see as the dollar fell, gold rallied. We actually caught that again, and now that we had a nice rally in the dollar, gold fell pretty good, fell almost 50 points. But I do believe we're probably going to start in a range. Now, in regards to other currencies, I think I did mention that we shorted euro right at 1.1080. There's a really nice level up there. You can see that kind of corresponds with, if you can line these things up, especially the euro's got about a 90% inverse correlation. I am looking at some other currencies. I think Kiwi had a really nice level at the 63.05. If you check it out, that dropped pretty nicely away from that. Canada has got some levels I'm looking at to buy Canada right around 73. Peso really kind of just, I've been talking about that. It is approaching a nice level here, been chopping around in here, not having as strong a corollary to the dollar because it's actually rallied today. So the peso has more of a correlation against maybe even like the stock market or something, right? So we'll have to see how that goes. Okay. And then let's see. Silver pulls back 26. We talked about that. We talked about gold. Yeah, the rest of the metals, really not a whole lot going on. Copper just chopping around here. And I think that pretty much sums it up, everybody. There's really on the wheat, that's also in a range. Soybeans, not anything going on there. Corn, actually, let's finish up with corn. So corn did have a nice rally, and approaching that 680 level on corn. So we'll have to see how that goes and see if that's something coming into the weekend, right around the 680, 690 level. Okay. So that pretty much sums it up, everybody. There's really not a whole lot else to discuss. Again, lots of range trading. Wait for some breakouts, and we'll see how next week's plays out with a bunch of earnings and so forth. Okay. So have a nice weekend, everybody. Next week we got a ton of earnings with some more banks and so forth, and all these breakout situations happening. So hopefully everybody has a great weekend. I will see you next Tuesday. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.